In any police department with more than 1,700 officers, there will always be what officials call bad actors, bad apples that spoil the bunch. The Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department is no different.
Accountability is absolutely important.
That's what Chief Putney told a crowd of reporters, including me, Nathan Morabito, last month at a safety, trust, and accountability briefing.
We're going to hold ourselves accountable. All I asked is give our officers a little bit of credit.
There, he touted the fact that most of his officers represent the values of the city of Charlotte, and for those who don't, they're punished accordingly. So just how common is the ultimate punishment, termination? We started investigating in August. That investigation led us to a use of force case that never made headlines. One that resulted in the firing of a CMPD officer and this woman's shrieks. The officer's body camera caught part of what took place that night. That story will air Monday at 6 p.m. on NBC Charlotte. This story will tell you just how rare it is for the city to fire an officer. Let's start with complaints. The number of complaints against CMPD officers hit a 4-year low last year with 134.
Out of 134, 110 were officers holding themselves accountable, saying, I saw you do something wrong, you're a cop too, and I tell somebody to take care of it.
CMPD's most recent Internal Affairs annual report shows most investigations the year before resulted in counseling and written reprimands, with 48 active suspensions. That same year, 5 employees faced criminal charges and 12 lost their jobs. The termination number, though, fluctuates year to year, but remains well below 1% of the total workforce yearly. Here's the thing about these investigations. State law prevents the public from finding out specifics of disciplinary matters. CMPD told us the specific allegations against an officer are not public record, but are confidential as a personnel record. Well, that didn't stop us from finding out the details of 2 terminations, both of them upheld by the City of Charlotte Civil Service Board, because written notices of dismissal for sworn officers are public. So we specifically asked for them. That's how we learned the city fired one officer in October for driving himself to work and reporting late for duty mid-afternoon. An officer that a breath test registered a .08 blood alcohol content an hour and 15 minutes later. An officer who drove himself to work. That's how we also learned several months prior the board terminated an officer for use of force. But that dismissal notice didn't say much other than provide the officer's name and when the use of force occurred. Remember that.
Legally, you can only use force to overcome resistance. That's it. It's that simple.
Use of force incidents hit a 3-year low in 2017 with 369. A year after the shooting of Keith Scott led to riots in Charlotte. A shooting the police chief defended.
If there's an encounter, you go down and the weapon's right there, it's kind of obvious that a weapon was involved, even though I didn't visually see it.
9 months after that shooting, in June 2017, the Citizens Review Board sided with Scott's family in their appeal of CMPD's findings that his shooting was justified. The board voted 8-2 in favor of Scott's family, saying there was substantial evidence of error in CMPD's decision. However, in an August vote, the Citizens Review Board was evenly split on whether the shooting was justified. Members said they would make policy recommendations to CMPD following the vote. That takes us back to the rarity of firing officers. CMPD told us in the last 3 years, the city has cited 2 people for termination stemming from use of force. One of them resigned prior to the civil service hearing, and the other one, the board upheld the termination. The latter is the focus of our 2-month investigation. Knowing the date of his reported use of force, we requested the relevant police report and if anyone was arrested. That's when we went to the courthouse and started looking at all relevant public records related to the person's arrest, and eventually got in touch with the man, a man who prosecutors, we learned, later dismissed charges against. It was at that point we discovered the city fired this officer, not because of the man.
How angry does it make you?
Very angry.
But instead because of his interaction with the man's mother.
I truly felt like he was going to kill me.
Not only did we interview her. This is Nathan Morabito with NBC Charlotte. I wanted to give you ample time to respond or to talk on camera about this. In a surprising twist, why should we believe you?
I really couldn't tell you.
The officer himself agreed to talk on camera with us.
I never intentionally hurt anybody.
Giving us his disciplinary file, turning over the internal investigation records, and the body camera video that only a judge could have otherwise ordered the city to release. I've been a reporter now for 16 years, and I'm not sure I've ever told a story like this one before. Not even close. I hope you'll watch it Monday at 6 p.m. on NBC Charlotte.